This is a Zach Feldman Show replay on ZRadioLive.com.
The website music station Z Radio Live. This is the Zach Feldman Show. Joining me over the phone is an author. She has a new book out called POW, Peace Over War, using meditation and conflict resolution to reconcile international and local disputes. It is Barbara Melamed. Barbara, thanks so much for joining me here on the Zach Feldman Show. How's everything going?
Aloha. It's a pleasure to be with you. When I look out my window and I see blue skies and oceans, it makes my day.
Oh, yeah.
I live in Hawaii now.
I'm guessing you're in Hawaii then.
I am. And here's where I'll stay till the day I die.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad Hawaii's treating you well. Tell me about creating a book over, about peace over war. What's it all about?
As a child, I was a middle child. So I knew what conflict resolution was from when I was 5 or 6 years old. And as I went through my high school, I did an exchange program and lived with Indian families of all different sects. I moved from, people, Hindus, to the other Asian people, and I lived in their homes. So I felt firsthand what it was like to deal with people who weren't like me. And I think that's why we have so many wars, that the people in Ukraine don't necessarily understand the people in Russia. Although some Ukrainians live in Russia during this ugly war. And then, I was a Brownie and a Girl Scout, but then I did learn some real techniques on how to mediate, from belonging to Mediators Beyond Borders International and the Association of Conflict Resolution. And I'm currently the head of the advisory board to the Gandhi International Institute for Peace. You know who Gandhi is, Zach, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, well, Gandhi said we have to make truth and nonviolence not matters for individual practice, but for practice in groups, communities, and nations. And that's what he said he would die for. And people don't understand that war isn't just about two countries or two people. It's about the people who love them, too.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
Pardon me?
I was going to say 100%. It's about, it is about, but at the same time, war sucks. War is a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah. My career treating soldiers has taught me a lot about what you have to do to help people. And it isn't only treating post-traumatic stress disorder and, the perhaps traumatic brain injury that some of these soldiers have experienced, but it's their families. And, there's a lot of anger when you lose your loved one. A lot of people are dying in our current wars. I don't want to get into how the president's handling it, but
tell me about kind of why you chose to write a book like this. What got you interested in talking about war?
I hope to teach people another way to resolve conflicts. And in Hawaii, I learned a construct of Ho'oponopono, which is a model. People have a meal together. They discuss what their differences are. Usually there's a mediator who is a person outside of the conflict, but who understands the culture that they're dealing with. And they get people together to listen to each other. And forgiveness is part of it. You have to forgive yourself. Our soldiers have to learn how to forgive themselves for killing other people. It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
And in addition to forgiveness, you have to have gratitude for what you still have. In making peace, the two cultures or the two fighters have to agree to change things, compromise.
But Bara, what got you influenced to write this? What got you interested in this topic to be like, I need to write a book about it?
Because I feel I lived it. I don't like war. I lived in India, Sweden, Munich, and I lived in Bosnia. I've adopted an foster child in Bosnia, and I actually adopted a Russian child. So I wanted to have something for future generations. I wanted my Russian kid, Alexei, to understand why he was deserted, because his parents couldn't handle him during the wars that were going on. Mm-hmm. And I took my 22-year-old daughter, Jody, to Badia, which is an island where during the Croatian War, they sent children. And the children were separated from their parents, and they didn't know if they'd ever be reunited. And unfortunately, that's going on again in our current wars in Israel and Palestine. Mm-hmm. I also, in terms of why I wrote it, I host family members in my own home, in my own bedroom.
Yeah.
Men, women, children. I'm expecting 2 girls from Japan today, 19-year-olds who are going to Tokai and want to see what it's like to live in a family in Hawaii. We're not typical of every family. And I didn't invent mediation. There are many, many books out there that are excellent that teach mediation. Mm-hmm. And mediation isn't alone. I mean, we can learn just how to breathe, how to stop what we're doing and think about how we feel. And, I just had a plate of ice cream that helped relax. Vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
And I've been foster parent in addition to adopting my son, who was 2 years when we got him out of an orphanage in Nizhny Novgorod. I foster a Cambodian son. He keeps asking me for money lately. I keep telling him, hey, calm yourself. But he is going to school and learning a career. And I've now adopted a daughter. I also have a service dog, Lincoln. And people don't realize that petting a dog reduces stress. Mm-hmm. It can help stop war. Pets can reduce stress, and they can also find the enemy, right? So our service dogs do a lot of different things. One of the big influences currently mm-hmm. is my work with my own governor, Josh Green. And we've resolved some problems right here in Hawaii. They wanted to build a major telescope on the top of Mauna Kea, one of the highest mountains on the island, to study the stars and the moon and maybe predict Holocaust. And the Native Hawaiians are fighting it because that's their spiritual mountain. Mm. And right now they're winning.
I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you, obviously you're a doctor now. You got the doctor name in the back and in the front of your name now, which is awesome. You went to Harvard Law School for a long time. And, tell me about kind of also being part of the director of Behavioral Medicine Association for over 20 years. What got you into working with medicine too?
Because stress affects the physiology. When you're angry, your heart rate beats, your blood pressure goes up, and you can't just deal with people who've been in terrorist situations without not only understanding their feelings, but looking at the medical situations that they're in and learning how to feed them good food. But more important is bringing them together with other people. First of all, their own families, their loved ones. Mm. But pastors and rabbis mm-hmm. also play a part in helping people learn how to forgive one another. Education plays a role. If people don't have the opportunity to work, they don't feel good about themselves. So in repairing any country, it isn't even a matter of paying them off with dollars and cents. It's giving them work opportunities, letting them learn how to, give back. And NATO and UNICEF play a big role in, when they have a peace agreement, it's not forever. You got to have the people who are debating come back to the table, preferably with an outsider. And in our current wars, we're using Egypt and I forget the other country, Southeast Asian country, to stand by and listen. And the Israeli peace agreement is in stage 2 now. And part of it is exchanging prisoners of war. And I think it's disgusting that they take prisoners of war. Imagine not knowing whether your loved one is in a cage or being fed. So it's really important to have backup. Come back to the table. Make sure the agreements are still working. But more important, Zach, than anything else is to learn to love the other. And in order to find out how to do that, you have to understand the other's culture, their color. I mean, we have racism, and racism is actually one of the areas I do work in. I'm a member of Black Lives Matter. I'm a white person, and Black Lives Matter. In my opinion, all lives matter. Even those who are prisoners, who've committed crimes, they need to be forgiven for what they've done. And in order to learn who the other is, you have to kind of let them go in your home. You have to visit their home. There's got to be reciprocity. Do for others as you would have others do for you. Does that make sense?
Of course, it makes sense. Yeah, it's important to be able to be human and humanize other people, and to, if someone's learning their mistakes and learning from what they've done in the past, that's been, they've done a horrible thing or whatever it is, to be able to rebuild themselves and learn to become a better person. That's always good, and that can also maybe help us out in the end, to be a little bit more whole. People always make mistakes. That's what it comes down to. Mistakes are always the case. And people are always going to make mistakes no matter what. So once we can try to fix things up, then that's kind of what we're going to do. But I want to ask you, Barbara, obviously, POW is out right now. It's on Amazon. But for those who want to, follow your journey, where can they go?
PeaceEndsWar.com, all small letters. Peace, PeaceEnds, War, WAR.com.
Awesome.
That'll take you to a good site.
Very cool. And what is next for you, Barbara, as a writer?
Well, I just finished a book called I'm Aging. So I just wrote a book called Aging Sucks Unless You Cross the Bridge. And if you want to know what the bridge is, it's an acronym, BRIDGE. Breathe is B, R is relationships, I is I, me. D is dealing with death, R, and your own death.
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered? Write your legacy before you go. And E is for energy and excitement. And Amazon has both POW, Peace Over War, and Aging Sucks Unless. So if you're interested in how I write and what I say, that's a good place to go. Zach, I'd like to take time for one more. A colleague of mine, Anthony Marcello, who's a professor with me at the University of Hawaii, he wrote a wonderful thing. Show by your actions that you choose peace over war, freedom over oppression. voice over silence, service over self-interest, respect over advantage, courage over fear, cooperation over competition, action over passivity, diversity over uniformity, and justice over all. That's Anthony J. Marcella, PhD, Professor Emeritus at the University of Hawaii, and I think that says it all. Better than I can say it. I don't own it. In fact, we all own it, and we have to decide, even if we're fighting with our husband, is this a marriage I want to maintain? You know, I'm in my second marriage.
Well, you know, I mean, listen, I am one for making peace on earth, you know, and I hope one day we can actually see that, you know, throughout all the countries and throughout everybody.
Problems. Did you know that, Zach?
I'm sorry, say it again.
War causes climate problems. When you bomb things, steel falls, and that poisons water, and it poisons the earth. It keeps plants from growing. And I'm sitting here watching beautiful plants growing out of the top of my bushes, and it makes me feel relaxed.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for joining me here on the Zach Feldman Show. Again, the book is called POW, Peace Over War, Using Meditation and Conflict Resolution to Reconcile International and Local Disputes. You can get it on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. Barbara, thanks again for joining me here on the Zach Feldman Show, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you. And peaceendswar.com.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, more on the Zach Feldman Show when we come right back here on the Website Music.
Aloha, and don't forget Ho'oponopono. It means good, calm resolutions.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, more Zach Feldman Show right after this. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Want to hear more? Listen to the Zach Feldman Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ZRadioLive.com.